Dear viewers, welcome to the latest news of the family Chantel. Please watch the entire video without skipping any part. Stars of the family Chantel and Pedro's divorce wasn't amicable. Even if both parties are attempting to move on, every post-split update is upsetting. The group, those hoping to learn good news about reality TV stars Chantel Everett and Pedro Jimeno, may never receive it because their divorce is one of the messiest in history. Chantel's hopes were also unfulfilled, and she seems to be taking the break more hard than her much-maligned ex Pedro. They were certainly never a good match, yet at one point this marriage appeared like a dream come true. Due to restraining orders, claimed theft, and other factors, Pedro and Chantel's breakup has a nightmare character. A fact, the majority of divorces are not easy to navigate. They endure suffering as they permanently separate. No one escapes unhurt, although some divorces are cleaner than this one. This Romeo and Juliet pairing had potential because they were a telegenic couple who appeared dedicated to one another despite the frequent conflict in their families. But it completely failed, with drama on a meltdown level at every turn. Their feuding families brought to mind Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, a tragic tale of two individuals who fell in love but were doomed by the long-standing animosities between their clans. The Everetts and Jimenos quarreled day and night, much like the Montagues and Capulets. Grudges developed that appeared never-ending. Even if there weren't any problems before Pedro and Chantel met, the two families couldn't have been more dissimilar. Dramatic scenes have exploded on the family Chantel. A memorable and violent altercation occurred during a family supper. Instead of a physical altercation or a stabbing to the chest, Pedro and Chantel's marriage disintegrated by death by 1,000 cuts. Romeo's passing resulted from a misunderstanding. Because he believed Juliet had died, he consumed poison. A string of miscommunications, sometimes known as cuts, in Chantel and Pedro's relationship eroded their connection. Their issues caused them to separate, which Chantel might have felt was her death. It's difficult to pinpoint Pedro's exact feelings. Romeo might be a little bit of a villain. Pedro and Chantel have been through a lot, yet not dying for each other. Chantel may have idealized her lover in terms of miscommunications that pushed them to the brink and then overcame them, oblivious to warning signs that she should have noticed. Pedro reminded Chantel of his mother and sister, who were both abhorrent. She missed the similarities because she didn't want to confront the reality that Pedro would one day treat her just as badly. Pedro may have planned their breakup from the beginning. Pedro sought wealth for himself. He was all about pursuing the American dream and working hard to make money for his family and himself. He likely desired a companion who could get along with his mother and sister as well. Despite appearing villainous on TV, Lydia Morel and Nicole Jimeno are members of his direct family. He adores them, of course. Chantel would lose her cool after the kind of provocation that few people could ignore. Naturally, that happened, but it caused a lot of trouble. Pedro is a Libra, and Libras typically favor peace over conflict. It's possible that he considered Chantel's arguments with his family to be annoying. Yes, the Everetts also had disagreements with Pedro. Chantel's mother, Karen Everett, allegedly referred to Pedro as harvesting the American dollar. Chantel, though, appeared to be more patient than Pedro. Romeo had a strong love for this Juliet, but he might have been faking. As a result, the curtain came down after the divorce scene. It's likely Chantel was disintegrating behind the veil. She is courageous, though, continuing to promote herself on Instagram, advancing her nursing job, and juggling her many obligations. Pedro is not the type of person who would ingest a vial of poison out of pure affection. Chantel would be the kind to provide such a heroic sacrifice, but fortunately she never had to. In the end, these two were just too different. Pedro was more mercenary and cooler. Chantel was gullible, easily enraged, and equally easily forgave. Overall, Pedro doesn't conform to the myth of the star-crossed couple. He is overly shrewd, self-centered, and selfish. Chantel, on the other hand, is a true Romeo and Juliet. When love passes away, it does not do so peacefully, certainly not in this instance. This well-known reality couple's final moments were rough. From their pinky-winky days when Pedro had Chantel wrapped around his little finger, they are now separated and far apart. Chantel has been charged with stealing a stunning $257,000 from a joint bank account, according to Pedro. Pedro was charged with cheating and abuse by Chantel. They hit rock bottom when they each obtained a restraining order against the other. Both are currently portraying joyful faces online, but occasionally the smiles are so forced that they resemble rictus grins. Chantel in particular exudes sadness despite her glamorous good looks. Pedro is putting up with the trolls who attack each and every post on Instagram. Chantel does not experience that type of criticism, but then again, she most likely does not merit it. Most people agree that Pedro is the baddie in this unlikely combination. He is the one who exploited Chantel, an innocent woman, to obtain a green card. Could this be real? Pedro, the star of the family Chantel, is no one's Romeo, but it very well may be. If you like the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.